Hello everyone, this is Ian Troutman, the host of the Walking with Legends podcast. Just want to give you a quick note before we start the episode. Just want to thank everyone for all of your support, for downloading and listening to all of the previous episodes. Thank you for your support in helping us to find great individuals to interview for the podcast. I've had a lot of great conversations with the different athletes and coaches from the Kalamazoo area. And just want to continue to encourage you, if you do have anyone that you would really love to have on for an interview, please email us at walkwithlegends@gmail.com. We check that every day. We thank you for all your feedback and support and hope that we can continue to get good content for you. If you could do us a favor and like and share the episodes that you listen to or just the podcast in general with all your friends and family. We don't spend any money to market this podcast, so any support that you can help us out with makes a huge difference and really helps us to get the word out of there. So thank you again for your support. Hope you enjoyed the episode and continue to support us, and we'll continue to get good content out for you. Thank you. Welcome to Walking with Legends, the podcast dedicated to telling the stories behind the most iconic athletes and teams in sports history and what made them become a legend. It's hard to come across generational talent when it comes to the world of sports. You hear it constantly being said in the media that each sport is constantly looking for that player who is a 1 in a million generational talent, able to come in and take their sport by a storm. But for all the talk, it's definitely not a common sight. But what if I were to tell you that the sport of women's tennis experienced the rise of not only a generational talent in the late 90s and 2000s, but 2 generational talents? Not only that, but both players would happen to be sisters. That was exactly the case when the Williams sisters came onto the scene, and both players went on to post incredible careers that are still continuing to affect the game to this day. Today, we will examine on the life and career of Serena Williams, the younger of the 2 Williams sisters. The youngest of 5 daughters born to Richard and Oracene Williams, Serena and the rest of the Williams family moved from her birthplace of Saginaw, Michigan, to Compton, a suburb in Los Angeles, California, when she was a baby. Because it's an economically depressed area, Compton is a rough and often violent neighborhood, and the Williams sisters would go on to say that they occasionally witnessed exchanges of gunfire in their neighborhood. Her father, Richard Williams, was a huge fan of tennis and envisioned his daughters as champions even before they were born. He would buy books and instructional videotapes and teach himself and his wife how to play tennis so that he could one day teach their daughters. Both Serena and Venus Williams, her older sisters, showed promise at a very early age, and, coached by their father, Serena entered her first tennis tournament at age 4.5, and her father recalls that over the next 5 years, she would go on to win 46 of her 49 tournaments that she entered. She and Venus Williams both excelled in the highly competitive preteen circuit in Southern California, both attaining a number 1 ranking in their respective age groups. Before reaching their teen years, the sisters had begun attracting national attention and received offers for endorsement deals from sporting good companies and invitations to prestigious tennis camps. In 1991, Richard Williams withdrew the girls from junior tournaments, which was a decision that was widely criticized by tennis insiders. The junior circuit is accepted as the conventional path to tennis stardom, but Richard wanted to protect his daughters from the intense competition and from what he perceived as racial hostility from other tennis players. Richard invited teaching pro Rick Maichy to come to Compton and watch his daughters play tennis. He did come and was impressed by the sisters' skill and athleticism, so he invited them to study with him at his Florida academy, and soon after the family relocated to Florida with the proceeds from a clothing endorsement contract for Serena and Venus that allowed the family to purchase a home in Palm Beach Gardens that's not too far from the tennis school. In 1995, at age 14, Serena turned pro, arousing controversy among many who felt that athletes should be older before they become professionals. The Women's Tennis Association, the governing body of women's professional tennis, barred competitors from WTA events at that age, so she had to go all the way to Quebec, Canada for her first non-WTA pro tournament, where, despite her talent, was quickly eliminated from competition. Her introduction to professional play indicated that she needed additional training time, and her father decided that his youngest daughter should take a break from competition, so he pulled her out of competitions for that year and the following year. In 1997, on her first year in the WTA competition route, in the shadow of her sister, who had shown herself to also be a promising young player, Serena enrolled in the Ameritech Cup in Chicago, Illinois, and would go on to shock the world for the first of many times in her career, when she defeated Mary Pierce, then ranked 7th in the world among women's players, in the second round. She further defied expectations when she would defeat 4th-ranked Monica Seles in the quarterfinals, before eventually losing to 2nd-ranked Lindsay Davenport in the semifinals. She completed the 1997 season ranked 99th, which was an impressive debut year for a 16-year-old player. She continued to build her skills and confidence in the next year, beating a number of players ranked far above her. One victory over 9th-ranked Irina Spurlia in the first round of the Australian Open led her to a matchup against her sister in the next round. Venus won that match, which was a victory that aroused complex emotions for both sisters. Venus, who was accustomed to her role as a big sister, wanted to take care and protect her sister, while Serena spent most of her life looking up to Venus and wanted to be just like her. The Williams sisters have since met many times as opponents on the tennis court, and some observers have suggested that they lack their usual passion when they play one another, which is something that they both vehemently deny. Such matchups do result in mixed feelings, however, with the victor feeling both triumphant and regretful. Serena and Venus are best friends, but they are also intensely competitive with one another, and each sister uses the other's success as motivation to improve. In a 1998 article, Serena told Sports Illustrated for Kids, "I've learned a lot from watching Venus. Her results have encouraged me to work harder so that I too can work hard." The Williams sisters have also played together many times as a double team, with 1998 marking the first time that the sisters won a professional match together. Serena also won 2 Grand Slam mixed double titles that year at Wimbledon and the U.S. Open with partner Max Marini. While she had yet to win a major singles title, she had earned over $2 million during the 1998 season. The following year proved even more successful, with Williams winning a number of events. Her first single title of the year was at the Paris Indoors Tournament. Venus won a tournament the same day in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, which marked the first time in history of professional tennis that 2 sisters won championships on the same day, or even the same week. The professional highlight of the year came when Williams defeated 3 of the top 4 tennis players in the world to win the singles title in the U.S. Open. It was her first singles victory at a Grand Slam event, and the first time in more than 40 years since Althea Gibson's win in 1958 that an African-American woman won a Grand Slam singles title. Another 1999 milestone was Williams' first professional victory over her sister, when she beat Venus in the Grand Slam Cup. The two teamed up to win 2 Grand Slam doubles events that year at the French Open and the U.S. Open, and she finished the 1999 season as the 4th-ranked women's player in the world. The following 2 years proved difficult for Williams, as a series of injuries resulted in a number of losses and forcing her to withdraw from several tournaments. During the 2000 season, she had doubles victories with Venus as her partner at both Wimbledon and the Olympic Games. The sisters won the double title at the Australian Open in 2001, which marked their dominance in doubles at all 4 Grand Slam events. After recovering from injuries, Serena would go on to have a career year in the 2002 season. She was victorious in 8 out of the 11 tournaments that she entered, earning nearly $4 million in prize money. At the NASDAQ 100 Open in Miami, Florida, Williams defeated the top 3 players in the world, including her sister, to win the singles title. This achievement marked one of many history-making wins, as she joined tennis great Steffi Graf as the the only ones to defeat the world's three best players in the same tournament. 3 times that year, at the French Open, Wimbledon, and the US Open, Serena met Venus in the finals of a Grand Slam event, and 3 times she defeated her. After her victory at Wimbledon, Williams became the top-ranked women's tennis player in the world. During the US Open, Serena wore a one-piece black outfit made by Puma, a company she had signed a hefty endorsement deal with a few years earlier. The outfit was so different from the traditional white tennis dress and attracted nearly as much attention as her play on the court, and would be one of the first of many fashion statements that she would make to differentiate herself from the traditional women's tennis outfit. The real story of 2002, however, was that she was one of just 7 women in the history of the game to win 3 consecutive Grand Slam titles in a single year. In the next few years, Williams would endure a great deal of hardship as injuries and poor play began to become a common occurrence in her game. At the 2007 Australian Open, Williams experienced one of the greatest tests to her character that she had to endure up to that point. Shortly before her first match, a representative from Nike paid her a visit in the players' lounge, informing her that if she did not perform to her accustomed level, the company would drop her, as she had dropped to number 81 in the world at that point. Williams claimed that Nike's ultimatum meant that she would have to finish at least through the quarterfinals of the tournament. The distraction from Nike did not distract Williams at all, as she lost just 3 games in the first round and defeated Ann Kremer in straight sets in the second. By that point, a blister had developed on her foot and she had contracted a cold, but in the third round she found herself 2 points away from going home against Nadia Petrova, but fought back to win in 3 sets, which was her first win over a top 10 player since defeating Lindsay Davenport in the 2005 Australian Open. Williams then made it all the way to the final, and by the time she had reached the final, the cold and blister had both left. While previewing the finals, Tracy Austin stated that although Williams had a great tournament, she believed that the ride was over and that Sharapova would have, quote, no trouble with Williams. Serena thought it was mean and unnecessary and used it as motivation along with other criticism. And in the final, she lost just 3 games against Maria Sharapova, winning her first title at any tournament since the 2005 Australian Open, almost 2 years prior. In 2009, at the Australian Open, she claimed her 10th Grand Slam singles title by defeating Dinara Safina in the final in only 59 minutes. This win returned her to the number 1 ranking in the world and resulted in her becoming the all-time career prize money leader in women's sports, overtaking golfer Annika Sorenstam. Williams finished that year ranked number 1 for the second time in her career, having played in 16 tournaments, more than any other year that she has been playing. She also broke the record previously set by Justine Henin for the most prize money earned by a female tennis player in 1 year, when she earned a little bit over $6.5 million. For doubles that year, the Williams sisters finished the year ranked number 2, despite playing only 6 tournaments together as a pair. She had won 5 Grand Slam tournament titles, putting her total for Grand Slam titles won thus far at 23, and she was consequently named Female Athlete of the Year by the Associated Press. At the 2013 US Open, Williams began as the top seed and defending champion, and reached the final, which was a rematch of the 2012 final against Azarenka, and won in 3 sets, capturing her 17th Grand Slam singles title. Williams became the oldest U.S. women's champion in the Open era and pushed her career prize money past $50 million. She won 11 titles in 2013, becoming the 8th player to win 11 titles or more in 1 year, and the first to do it since 1997. She also became the oldest person to win the WTA championships and the 4th player to win it 4 times or more. By winning this championship, Williams became the first woman to win more than $10 million in a season, and with her total of a little over $12 million, only Rafael Nadal in 2013 and Novak Djokovic in 2011, 12, and 13 have won more money in one season. Williams completed her second Serena Slam, or winning all 4 Grand Slams in a row, by winning the 2015 Wimbledon Championships, her 6th Wimbledon and 21st Grand Slam singles title overall. Her path to victory at Wimbledon was particularly challenging. She was down a double break in the third round versus Heather Watson and 2 points from defeat twice before rallying for the win. Williams then defeated 3 former number 1 players, her sister Venus, Victoria Azarenka, and Maria Sharapova, in succession to advance to the final. She then played 21-year-old Garbine Muguruza, who had previously handed Williams the worst Grand Slam tournament defeat of her career the previous year in the French Open, but this time Williams would come out victorious. The victory made Williams the oldest woman in the Open era to win a Grand Slam singles title, in addition to having the distinction of being the oldest ladies Grand Slam singles champion of all time. It was also her 8th consecutive victory in Grand Slam singles finals appearances, breaking Steffi Graf's Open era record of 7 from 1995 through 1999. Her 21st Grand Slam singles title equaled the tally of the rest of the women's tour combined. The week of July 13th marked the first time in WTA history that the number 1 player had more than twice as many points as the number 2. On January 28th, 2017, Williams won the Australian Open for an Open era record 7th time, defeating her sister Venus in the final. This was her 23rd Grand Slam singles title, which surpassed Steffi Graf's Open era record of 22. It was the first time in the Open era that 2 players aged 35 or older competed in the final for a Grand Slam tournament. On April 19th of that year, she revealed that she was 20 weeks pregnant and would miss the remainder of the season. The timing of her announcement led to the conclusion that she would have been roughly 8 to 9 weeks pregnant when she won the Australian Open that year. In interviews, she maintained that she intended to return to tennis after her pregnancy, adding that she had a quote, outrageous plan of competing in the 2018 Australian Open. On September 1st of that year, Williams gave birth to her daughter, Alexis Olympia Ohanian Jr. Williams had a cesarean section delivery due to a pulmonary embolism during labor. She also suffered another pulmonary embolism after giving birth, leaving her bedridden for 6 weeks and delaying her return to training. While we could continue to talk about her accomplishments on the court, it's also important to discuss the other aspects of Serena Williams that have made her have such a big impact on the game of tennis. She's been noted for having an unusual and colorful outfits on the court. In 2002, there was much talk when she wore a black lycra catsuit at the U.S. Open. In 2004, for the U.S. Open, she wore denim skirts and knee-high boots, which tournament officials did not allow her to wear during the match. At the 2008 Wimbledon, the white trench coat that she wore during warm-up for her opening match was the subject of much discussion since it was worn despite sunny weather. She would go on to open her own designer apparel in 2004, a signature collection of handbags and jewelry in 2009, and another signature collection in 2018. Needless to say, she found a way to express herself not only on the court, but in business as well. On top of all this, Serena's done a lot of charity work and endeavors. In 2004 and 2005, Serena and her sister Venus visited hospitals and played several tennis matches in predominantly black cities in order to raise money for the local Ronald McDonald House charities. In 2008, as part of the Serena Williams Foundation's work, Williams helped to fund the construction of the Serena Williams Secondary School in Matuni, Kenya. The Serena Williams Foundation also provides university scholarships for underprivileged students in the United States. In 2016, the Serena Williams Fund partnered with Helping Hands Jamaica to build the Salt Marsh Primary School for Jamaican youth in Trelawney Parish. She received a Celebrity Role Model Award from Avon Foundation in 2003 for work in breast cancer. She was involved in a number of clinics at schools and community centers, particularly those which have programs focusing on at-risk youth. She's won the Young Heroes Award from Big Brothers Big Sisters of Greater LA and Inland, and the Family Circle of Prudential Financial Player Who Makes a Difference Award. In response to the 2010 Haiti earthquake, Williams, along with other ATP and WTA stars, decided to forego their final day of preparation for the 2010 Australian Open to form a charity event in which all the proceeds would go on to the Haiti earthquake victims. In addition to the Serena Williams Fund in 2016, Serena and Venus collaborated on the Williams Sisters Fund to work on philanthropic projects together. Also in 2016, in their native home of Compton, California, Serena and Venus teamed up to fund the Yetunde Price Resource Center in honor of their late sister. The Resource Center provides services to families affected by community violence. Finally, in 2014, Williams began hosting an annual charity run named the Serena Williams Ultimate Fun Run. The event is in support of the Serena Williams Fund, which helps underprivileged individuals and communities that are affected by senseless violence and to ensure equality access to education of youth. It's truly incredible when you think of how an athlete can thoroughly dominate their sport and then use that influence and media attention to do great things in their communities and make a difference beyond themselves. That's not to say that athletes are perfect or free from mistakes, but looking at the life and career of Serena Williams, it's obvious that she not only had the skill and talent to dominate the women's tennis circuit, but the desire to leave a legacy far beyond it. The Williams sisters broke onto the scene, and the game of tennis has never been the same, as they double-teamed, no pun intended, their way to an incredible winning percentage, as Serena went 349-49, or an 88% winning percentage for her career thus far, and challenged the status quo of gender, race, and fashion in the historically traditional world of tennis. Though her glory years may be behind her, she'll always be remembered as one of the greatest of all time, a legend engraved in history. Thank you all for listening to the Walking with Legends podcast. If you enjoyed the episode, please do us a favor and share or like this podcast on all of our mediums to help spread the word and get this podcast out to new members. Please tune in next week as we examine the life and career of MLB great Derek Jeter. Until next time, have a legendary week.